So good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing tonight? Well, thank you all for being here. It's wonderful to have you all in this room. It's wonderful to be here for this event. We are really excited. I'm not even on script yet, but I did want to just thank you for being here. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for celebrating with us. And again, how's everybody doing tonight? Okay, good. I need a little bit louder because it is a night of celebration and it is a night of welcoming, and it's such a powerful site to do this in. So my name is Curry Sotner. I'm the president and CEO of Eastern State Penitentiary, and I am so honored to have you all here tonight. It's my great privilege to welcome you tonight to the rededication of our synagogue on site. This is also the official launch of the Reichlin Restorative Justice and Faith Conversation series, which is a new program part of our Justice 101 series. And we cannot be any prouder to launch this and to begin in this dialogue and conversation tonight. On behalf of Eastern State, I would like to extend my deepest thanks to Larry Reichlin and his entire family for your commitment to this work. We are honored to also welcome Mrs. Claire Reichlin to the evening and for the support that underwrites this program for the next 3 years of conversations, ensuring that the power of this place and the powerful stories help to usher in opportunities for all of us to be informed about our history and also at the same time to be presented with opportunities to help shape the future. These conversations that we're going to gather in tonight, these conversations on justice, on faith, but more importantly on community, are so powerful, and they call to us today in a way, at least for me, that is so important to do today, even like it was 100 years ago, even like it was 200 years ago. Community matters. People coming together matter, and that power of togetherness can help change and save lives. Now, before we continue, I would like to acknowledge the pain and loss and grief being experienced in communities around the world in the last week. In these moments, gathering and reflection is so important. Gathering together to understand the shared humanity of each other matters deeply. And I invite us all to hold a brief moment of silence to think of those who are lost. Thank you. Tonight marks not just a restoration of our powerful synagogue, but also a renewal of the work of what that space means. We gather in this rededication of the synagogue, and just so we're clear, this is more than likely the first ever synagogue that is on a site of incarceration in America. This space bears witness to religious life of those incarcerated here, and to the volunteers and the leaders within the community that ensured that faith, ensured that dignity, and the community was not stripped away. The synagogue, which I invite you all to visit later tonight, exists in the birthplace of solitary confinement. So you have to hold those two truths at the same time together. A place that was rooted, Eastern State, a place that was rooted in isolation and the removal of community, is juxtaposed with the powerful sight of the synagogue and the powerful sight of this room right now coming together as community. This system was designed to separate and silence. This system was designed to remove connection. But it was the larger community of Philadelphia that held strong in those beliefs, believing that community matters, believing that everyone has a power in them to transform. And the ideas of the individual having free will, inherent worth in themselves, and the capacity to come home. All of that mattered to the larger Philadelphia community, and that's what rallied the work here at Eastern State. Restoration is central to our work at Eastern State, and in this way, in this bigger sense of the word, it takes on so much more meaning here when we think about restoration of the soul and restoration of this space. Eastern State is preserved as a stabilized ruin, and this intentional approach allows history, neglect, and meaning to coexist in an honest way together. And these gatherings in the synagogue stand apart from that coexisting, and they help to teach us how to restore one another through the architecture and through our conviction. The belief that moral and spiritual life matters was what this community strived for. And even in places that were defined by pain and by punishment, the belief of each other and the belief of human dignity endured. Mortar and brick surrounded it, but it was not that alone. That synagogue is a powerful site, but it is not only the mortar and brick that matter. It is the people that ensured that that site meant something to others, ensured that that site meant something to people while they were incarcerated in Eastern State, and then when they came home, be able to have that continuity of community. Because if you have a continuity of community, you are more than likely to stay home. And that is why the bonds between humans, the bonds between each other, matter so much. This was a community that refused to forget those behind the walls, and the community that fought to ensure that those in the incarcerated system could gather, could heal, and could learn. Now, we begin this project this night in really thinking about the work that we need to do moving forward. Tonight, we get to launch a 3-year program series that examines the power of community to drive that change and calls on every single one of us today to sustain that change and look for where we need to do more. Areas where we need to shore up and strengthen the work in the justice system, and areas where we need to make change. That is the work that we do today. That is the work that was started here over 100 years ago, and that over 100 years ago, 115 years ago, and then that still is calling to us today. In the years ahead, we will continue this effort by refreshing the Jewish Life exhibit and by refreshing and adding to the interpretation of the synagogue. Together, this work prepares the site to serve its highest purpose, not only as a historic site to come see and visit, but also as a living place of dialogue, of reflection, and of moral inquiry, the curiosity that makes us achieve more. That cannot be done without a larger community. That cannot be done without gatherings in this powerful site and around the country. And when we think of the strength of our community, we think of the leaders that are in our community helping us move that forward. And on that note of strong communities, I would like to welcome Councilman Young to the stage to say a few words. Can everybody please welcome Councilman Young?
So good evening, everyone. My name is Jeffrey Young. I have the honor and privilege of representing Philadelphia's 5th Council District on our City Council. And you know, it's very humbling to be here to celebrate religion in a place that Carrie mentioned was for solitude, a place that was meant to break your spirit, right? But in that same vein, you know, the prisoners who were here made sure that they stayed connected to who they were, right? Because you can't have religious institutions without the prisoners, without the people there wanting to worship, wanting to celebrate who they really are. So that just tells us about the spirit of those folks who were here during those times. And, you know, I want to thank Dr. Carrie Saltner, again, in the Eastern State Penitentiary team, the Reichlin Family Foundation, and all of tonight's partners for bringing us together for Justice 101, Songs of Redemption. One of the values I hold most strongly as a public servant is that strong communities are built when people come together, not just to speak, but to listen, to learn, and to reflect. And tonight is an invitation to do exactly that. Justice is not an abstract concept. It is deeply human. It is about dignity, accountability, memory, and our shared responsibility to one another, especially to those whose voices have too often been silenced. Programs like this remind us that the stories of incarceration are also stories of resilience, faith, creativity, and hope. In the spirit of Hanukkah, a celebration of light in the face of darkness, we gather in a place that holds profound meaning. So the rededication of this historic synagogue and the launch of the Reichlin Conversation Series reaffirms the importance of preserving sacred spaces and telling the full, inclusive history of our city. We don't want to leave anyone out or anything out. We have to be accurate when we are talking about history. These spaces matter because they help us understand where we've been and the challenges, and they challenge us to imagine where we can go. Eastern State does critical public history work, connecting the past to the present and asking us to confront difficult truths while holding space for healing and renewal. That work strengthens our civic life and deepens our sense of community. So I want to thank you all for being here tonight, for honoring these stories, and for showing up for justice, memory, and light. And I'm grateful to welcome you. I look forward to the reflection, the music, and the conversation ahead. Thank you so much.
And I promise we'll get to that music and all the things ahead. This amazing series, the Reichlin Restorative Justice and Faith Programming Series, is just that. I love how Councilman Young brought in that memory, because these sites are sites of memory. And I want to thank the generous support from the Reichlin and Tuck families. It has been unbelievably empowering to be able to see a conversation that isn't just a one-time moment, isn't a moment where we gather together to talk about it once. The way we truly make change is when we gather together again and again in service of each other. That work is so important and that work is so powerful. So we invite you to use this as your first opportunity to come to this series and then come again in the future to future ones. This vision for this program is extremely ambitious and deeply intentional. We begin tonight with this idea of performance, of ritual, of memory, of dialogue. But we continue throughout this work bringing together interfaith leaders in our next series in April to bring together interfaith leaders for a dialogue on incarceration, on reflection, and on coming home. The reentry process is unbelievably fraught, and the work of the interfaith leaders is moving to make that change. So that will be a dialogue where we can come together and see how we can support them. But we are grounded in a strong community here. And I want to take a moment and think about the 250th and all we're going to do in this next year, but to remember that that's just a launching point for a way to remember the words of the Declaration, that all people, and I'm going to change that a little bit, all people are created equal, that we come together as a community, we come together as a solidifying of a nation and of a people. And we do that because we have strength and foundation in the people who make us who we are. And so I'd like to end with thanking the Reichlin Family Foundation. The relationship the Reichlin family has with Eastern State stretches back more than a century. You will hear more about that tonight, but Aaron, just a little sneak peek of it, Aaron Reichlin likely ministered some of the Jewish population here before there was even a synagogue. And when we look at the records, we can see that those gatherings happened in 1913. And so the power of the community to say, I'm not going to allow somebody to go into a site of incarceration without staying connected to them. That matters. That mattered 200 years ago. That matters today. But the Reichlin family stayed connected to Eastern State. Aaron Reichlin was a powerful soul here, but also Ann Reichlin is one of our artists, our art installations here on site, Transient Room. It's a powerful art installation and has been a part of our work here since 2021. And I'm just gonna be honest, probably my favorite Reichlin is Larry Reichlin. He's a steadfast friend. Big round of applause for Larry here. And I say this is true honesty. Larry is an unbelievable friend to Eastern State, has been supporting Eastern State for years. But it was probably my third day of work where I got to hang out in the baseball field with Larry Reichlin, and I think it was 3.5 hours. And we talked about everything. We talked about our lives. We talked about his famous wife sharing eggs with small foxes to ensure that they were healthy and they got the nutrition that they needed in our community. But we also talked about ways to connect the community of the past to the community of the day. And how do we do more work? And so it is with this gift that we are so honored to do that work in their name and to move it forward. Such deep and generous support. I thank you so much. I thank your whole family for being here. And with deep gratitude, please let me now introduce and invite to the stage Aaron Reichlin's grandson, to join us at the podium, Larry Reichlin. Big round of applause.
Wow. That was something. Thank you so much, Curry. And I'm looking at it in this room, it is standing room only. It is an amazing turnout. So thank you all for coming. And thank you here for being at the launch of the Aaron Reichlin Restorative Justice and Faith Conversations at Eastern State as part of their Justice 101 series. It is especially meaningful that this first gathering coincides with the rededication of the synagogue that was created inside one of the cell blocks here over 100 years ago. That synagogue, first put into service in 1923 and restored in recent decades, reminds us that even in a place built for punishment, people carved out a space for prayer, for community, and for dignity. Its rededication today asks us to revisit overlooked stories and see how faith and moral conversation can thrive within walls like these. This is a personal homecoming for me of sorts, as you have heard. My grandfather, Aaron Reichlin, walked these corridors as a lay chaplain to the Jewish men incarcerated here in the 1920s. He would joke with me that it was the only way he could see half his old neighborhood buddies. But that quip captured how he showed up here, with presence, faith, and humor rather than judgment. Aaron was a first-generation American, raised in an Orthodox Jewish home, shaped by immigrant roots in Vilnius and by a family life where faith and work were carefully balanced. His father ran a modest shirtwaist factory and never let business overshadow religious life. From the beginning, Aaron saw learning, restraint, and faith as everyday commitments, not abstractions. As a young man, he studied at the Wharton School and then moved into the orbit of his extended family's businesses. During the First World War, he served as a paymaster for an uncle's company that supplied the military. Later, he worked in credit and finance at another uncle's textile mill. He lived a middle-class life, even while moving in a world of very successful businessmen. And that experience shaped how he saw his own life, in terms of many blessings, not entitlements. And he always taught us not to take our good fortune for granted. What stays with me most, however, is not his resume, but how he lived his values. He was a kind and gentle man, intellectually curious and quietly devout. He also had a good sense of humor that allowed him to tell the truth without losing compassion. When I visited him in later years, I would often find him in his kitchen, his prayer book open on the counter as he said the morning or evening prayers. That quiet, steady devotion is part of what he brought with him when he came here to Eastern State to sit with men who had lost their freedom, but not their humanity. It is because of that combination of faith, curiosity, and deep respect for other people that this program bears his name. Aaron lived those beliefs quietly, here at Eastern State and in every kitchen prayer. My hope is that over the next 3 years, these conversations will honor this place's history by exploring faith's role in restorative justice. Tonight's gathering is a celebration and a beginning, but the real work of these conversations lies ahead. As Curry mentioned, our second program will be on April 9th and will offer an interfaith dialogue on faith, reentry, and prison reform. Jewish, Muslim, and Christian leaders will share how their traditions and communities not only support people returning from incarceration, but how they advocate for a more humane and truly restorative justice system. We are honored to partner with Philadelphia's Office of Muslim Engagement, Culture Changing Christians, the Friends Service Committee, and the Jewish Community Relations Council in this effort. It is indeed my honor and that of my mother Claire and my sister Judy Tuck to bring the Aaron Reichlin Restorative Justice and Faith Conversations to Eastern State. We are deeply grateful to Kerry Sautner, Joel Kelly, Lauren Zallet, and the entire Eastern State team for this opportunity. We thank them, and I thank you all for being here. Now, moving the program forward tonight and to open with prayer and candle lighting, it is my privilege to introduce Ken Kravitsky. Ken serves as the Executive Director of Temple Beth Hillel Bethel, where he ensures that all of the events and operations run smoothly. Behind the scenes, Ken is passionate about improving the world around him. To that end, you will find him around the community with a smile and a friendly word, engaging others. At Temple, he is dedicated to enhancing the family experience. Prior to coming to TBHBE, Ken was the director of Hillel at Towson University for 8 years, where he transformed the Hillel by increasing membership and creating a cadre of student leaders. As an active experiential educator, he led hundreds of Jewish students on alternative breaks and taglit birthright trips. Ken is a graduate of Johns Hopkins University and has taken graduate courses in student affairs. He is a member of the North American Association of Synagogue Executives. And Ken and his wife Lauren, who is a pediatric neuropsychologist at CHOP, have 2 daughters, Sophia and Amelia. He is an avid reader and has finally transitioned into being a Philadelphia sports fan. Everyone, please welcome Ken Kravitsky.
It only took like 10, 11 years. Friends, thank you for joining together as we rededicate this synagogue. I love that we keep using the word memory. A favorite teaching of mine or saying of mine is that Jews don't have history, they have memory. And this is true of many peoples and many places. It is true here. History is what happened to someone else. Memory is what happened to us, and it impacts us, and we need to personalize it. There's something so powerful about being here tonight. It has already been a challenging week in the Jewish community and around our nation, and coming together to speak about light and about justice is good medicine. There's a joke that in the Jewish community they say, and I imagine most faith communities, that rabbis, priests, imams, every week is the perfect week for the messaging that you have. The holiday of Hanukkah is the perfect time to be here. And it is. The word Hanukkah itself means dedication. Tonight, that meaning is deeply literal and deeply symbolic. The synagogue's rededication affirms that sacred spaces endure not because walls remain standing, but because values are renewed. To rededicate is to recommit to memory, to moral reckoning, and to the belief that learning and reflection can lead to change. In reopening this space, we reaffirm that faith traditions can and must speak to justice, healing, and repair. In Judaism, redemption, gula, is not only a future hope, it is an ongoing responsibility. Redemption is found in acts that restore dignity, repair harm, and bring people back into right relationship with one another and with God. Jewish tradition teaches that redemption unfolds through human action, through justice, compassion, and moral courage, even in the imperfect circumstances. A different teaching: if you're planting a tree and you hear that the Messiah comes, keep planting the tree. It is through our actions that, love it, it is through our actions that we change the world. This understanding is especially resonant in a place like this, where history challenges us to confront suffering, accountability, and the possibility of transformation. Hanukkah is not just a celebration of the absence of darkness, but of light that persists within it. The menorah reminds us that a single flame can resist despair, and that light grows when it is shared. In Jewish thought, we are commanded not merely to recognize light, but to increase it each night, teaching us that hope is built incrementally. In moments of brokenness, personal, communal, or societal, Hanukkah calls us to ask, what is the small light we can kindle now? There is a teaching I love that is perfect for this moment. It's from Deuteronomy 16:20. Tzedek, tzedek, tirdof. Justice, justice shall you pursue. The word tzedek is the root of the word tzedakah. Tzedakah is often translated as charity, but at its heart, it's about making the world a more just place. Why is the word justice repeated twice? At first glance, it appears to be a simple emphasis. In rabbinic thought, each word of the Torah is there to teach us something, and they use this repeated phrase to discuss what it means to pursue justice. The rabbis have a number of different thoughts on this, but the one that I found particularly powerful in this place is that justice is not an issue for an individual, but also one for a group, for a society. What does it mean for a society to pursue justice? And why does it use the word pursue and not a word like achieve or obtain? In this place with so much history, I think we can determine the meaning of this. We must always be searching for the truth, to make sure that we have made the proper decisions, to correct the mistakes from our past. And this brings us back to Hanukkah. Each night we add an additional candle because when there are more candles, there is more light, and when there are more people pursuing justice, we have a more just society. There are 3 blessings associated with Hanukkah. I'm going to begin actually with the third, the Shehekianu. This blessing thanks God for allowing us to reach this moment in time. It is traditionally said on the first night of Hanukkah, but I think it is appropriate for us to recite it now. The blessing is recited at moments of gratitude and arrival when we reach a moment where we are not certain we would see. It honors survival, continuity, and the sacredness of now. Tonight, we are grateful not only for this restored space, but for the gathering itself, for the courage to remember, to reflect, and hope together.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu, v'kiyamanu, v'hegianu lazman hazeh.
So now we will recite the other 2 blessings and light the candles. The first one is a blessing to say thank you for God for commanding us to light the candles of Hanukkah. The second is to thank God for who rules the universe, accomplishing miracles for our ancestors from ancient days until our time.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Hanukkah. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asa nisim la'avoteinu ve'imoteinu bayamim ha'hem b'zman hazeh.
So first, my Hanukkah gift to you is that he led those songs and not me. I want to close with one of the core mitzvot commandments of Hanukkah. It is not enough to just light the candles. We are supposed to put the Hanukkah, the menorah, in the window. We need to publicize the miracle to spread the good news. That is also our challenge here. How do we celebrate and share the good news of Eastern State Penitentiary? How do we spread the light? Thank you.
Wow. Can we just give it up for my friend Avi Wisnia on the piano? My name is Lauren, and I'm the Senior Director of Learning and Engagement here at Eastern State, and I'm so happy to see so many of you here in this room tonight. We have heard many thank yous, but I'm going to keep thanking you for joining us as we rededicate this historic synagogue, which you'll get to see after the program, and as we gather tonight for an evening of music, of storytelling, and also of reflection. As you heard from Curry, Eastern State opened in 1829 with the belief that isolation would lead to reform. But in practice, that system often produced profound loneliness and harm. Yet even within that environment, incarcerated people found ways to sustain their identity, their faith, and connection. This synagogue is one of the clearest, and I would argue the most moving, examples of that effort. The first communal religious gathering at Eastern State was for the Jewish high holidays. And throughout the 20th century, the incarcerated congregation gathered for prayer, for holiday observances, and for study. Visiting rabbis, penitentiary board members, and volunteers advocated for religious accommodations, while incarcerated congregants themselves maintained and built the space and also its rituals. Much of what we know about this synagogue comes not only from architectural remnants, but from the community. Letters written by incarcerated people, memos written by prison staff, correspondence from volunteers, and also from family members. In the historic record, we read descriptions of religious rituals, holiday foods, and time together. Voices of the past speak of longing, of gratitude, of frustration, and also of faith. They remind us that religious practice here was not symbolic, it was deeply personal, and it was a collective effort. Tonight, we will hear 2 letters from that historic record. One is from Eastern State's Jewish congregation, and the other is from Seymour Levin's mother. Seymour was incarcerated here as a young person, and he was part of Eastern State's Jewish congregation. Both letters are written to a man named Joe Paul. He was an extraordinary, ordinary person who volunteered at Eastern State weekly and played an integral role in the congregation. He provided kosher food for ritual meals. He found jobs for over 300 people, and he also found housing for folks as they returned from Eastern State to the community. He supported their families as well. When you hear these letters read aloud tonight, you are listening to the voices that were once confined to paper and file boxes. These are not abstract histories. They are first-person accounts of people trying to remain whole inside of a system designed to break connection. Music is also something that we will experience tonight and have already, and it also played a really vital role in the effort. Jewish services and ritual celebrations here included traditional melodies that many incarcerated people already knew from their communities outside the walls. Singing together created moments of connection and a place defined by separation. Music offered comfort, it offered memory, and it offered a sense of belonging. This evening's musical selections, they draw from the historic record. They are inspired by the kinds of songs that would have been heard here when the Eastern State was open. And we're not doing this as a reenactment, but as we've heard from so many people, as a remembrance. In hearing these songs today, we are reconnecting to a lineage of resilience carried through voice. This synagogue did not exist in isolation. Eastern State held people of many faith traditions. Across religious difference, people sought similar things: meaning, forgiveness, moral grounding, and hope. That shared search creates a powerful interfaith story, one rooted in solidarity. Renewing this synagogue tonight and its story is also an act of restorative justice. Restorative justice asks what people need in order to take responsibility, to repair, and to imagine return. faith traditions, Judaism among them, have long engaged these questions through teachings on repentance, accountability, and redemption. As Rabbi Sharon Brous wrote, quote, "The ancient rabbis ask us to imagine a society where no person is disposable. Even those who have hurt us must be seen in their humanity and held with curiosity and care. Eastern State Synagogue is a place where those questions can be held honestly. The story of the synagogue challenges us to consider how systems of punishment might make room for reflection rather than only deprivation, and how community, especially faith communities, can support transformation. The rededication of this space during Hanukkah is especially meaningful. Hanukkah is a story of endurance and renewal, of light that persists against overwhelming odds. Lighting the menorah here tonight honors the people who once gathered at Eastern State and affirms a belief shared across faiths that no place is beyond the reach of dignity or of hope. Today, Eastern State stands as a site of memory. It is a place where history is not silent, where letters are read aloud, music is heard again, and stories are renewed in community. I have spent the past few months meeting with people who continue to create that community alongside incarcerated people today, anchored by their faith and guided by the Jewish value of tikkun olam, or repairing the world. It has been humbling to witness this renewed story of Eastern State Synagogue resonate with interfaith leaders and volunteers who move through carceral spaces today, and is a reminder that history does not end in an archive, but continues through the communities who give it meaning in the present. Thank you all for being here tonight, to listen deeply, to be in community, and to carry forward a story that insists on humanity, on connection, and the enduring possibility of renewal. Next, we're gonna have Karen come up and read one of our letters. Come on up, Karen.
Let's see if I'll read it if I can read it. All right. This is a letter from the Jewish inmates to Joe Paul, and it's dated September 30th, 1944. Dear Mr. Paul, we inmates have recently written a letter in praise of your work here at Har Sinai Lodge. We are well aware of the fact that you are not the type of person who goes around doing good for people like us simply because he wants praise from our community. Actually, we know that the only praise you get for your good work is from us alone. That is why we want to bring your splendid work before the eyes of your lodge. In our letter, we told your lodge that no one in the community has looked after the welfare of what we inmates as you have. We told them how you came, without even being asked, to the holiday meals to see it personally that we enjoyed the meals. You know in your heart, Mr. Paul, that we'd have enjoyed even a stale piece of bread as long as you were sitting there with us, sharing our lot. We told Har Sinai also how grateful we are that the men in your lodge have become interested in the work here, and of the recent splendid spirit of cooperation Mr. Morrison extended one of the inmates after only one visit here. These men like Mr. Cohn, Mr. Dresner, Mr. Markovitz, and others, are the types of men who would help anywhere, but who did not see, justly, the need for help here until it was pointed out to them by you. We look forward to meeting more men of your lodge, and if they are anything like Joe Paul, then one can rest assured that many men are going to be given the incentive to lead something of a better life when they are released. For nothing lifts a man in prison so much as the knowledge that he has a friend standing by on the outside, always ready to aid him, if not always materially, then at least spiritually. With kindest wishes for the kindest man of them all, we remain very sincerely yours, the Jewish inmates.
Thank you, Karen. And next up, I'm going to introduce Avi and welcome him back to the stage. So Avi Wisnia is an award-winning singer and songwriter, finding inspiration in 1950s West Coast jazz, acoustic American folk, Brazilian bossa nova, and contemporary piano pop. He tours in support of his newest studio album of jazz pop compositions titled Catching Leaves, performing in prestigious venues around the world, from the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City to the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C., to concert tours in Japan, Poland, and Brazil. In addition to being a performing songwriter, he is the son of a rabbi, has performed with the Moth Storytellers, and runs the Philly Songwriter Circle Collective. He is also featured in the PBS documentary, How Saba Kept Singing. Please welcome my friend Avi to the stage.
It is really a pleasure and an honor to be here to celebrate Hanukkah with all of you. Whether you have celebrated yet this season or not, Hanukkah, especially for me, as Lauren mentioned, as the son of a rabbi and the grandson of a cantor, having grown up in the Jewish communities here in Bucks County and having moved back to Philly now for 13 years, this holiday in particular is all about community. And that's what being raised Jewish has taught me, that you celebrate together with people. And the selections that you're going to hear tonight are from a variety of eras and really do take inspiration from the kind of music that the inmates in their communal Jewish celebrations would sing. And not only would they sing them, but apparently they had song sheets. And that's why on all of your seats, you also have song sheets. So whether you are familiar with these songs or not, I encourage you to sing along, or at least to read along and listen to the words. Song sheets are very much in the Jewish summer camp tradition that I come from. And I will have you know that's actually how I know Lauren Zallet, who runs the programming here. We went to summer camp together. And we didn't even realize that we would be seeing each other until we started working on this program together. So again, this program and this night has brought people together unexpectedly in the most glorious of ways. So as I mentioned, there will be multiple eras and also multiple languages. One of the languages that was sung in the celebrations was Yiddish. And even some inmates spoke Yiddish. Now, my grandfather, cantor David Wisnia, was born in Poland, and he himself spoke many languages. And in fact, part of his incredible life story is that music saved his life, especially when he was a prisoner in the concentration camp of Auschwitz. Music is what saved his life. And music sustained him throughout his life so much that towards the end of his life, we started performing together. And he would teach me some songs that he knew as a young boy growing up in Poland, including one that was in Yiddish and that he taught to me. And so when we sing these songs, we keep that history alive, we keep our loved ones alive, and we keep our stories alive in the present and carry them forward into the future. That is why we're going to start with a song in Yiddish with a little bit of translation into English as well. It is a riddle that will be explained in the verses, but the chorus simply says, "Let us play, let us play, let us make music." In Yiddish, "Tum balalaika, spiel balalaika, tum balalaika, freilich soll sein." Steht a Buche, runer Tracht, Tracht und Tracht die ganze Nacht. Wer men zu nehmen und nicht verschämen, wer men zu nehmen und nicht verschämen. Tumbala, 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 laika, tumbala, tumbala, tumbala. didn't you know? A stone does not need rain to grow. A love's not consumed, although it is burning. A heart weeps no tears, although it is yearning. Tumbala, 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 like a tumbala, 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 like a spiel, like a tumbala, like a freilich soll sein. And again. Tumbala, 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 like a tumbala, 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 like a spiel, like a tumbala, like a freilich soll sein. Yeah, sing it aloud now, shall we? Tumbala, 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 like a tumbala, 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 like a spiel, like a tumbala, like a freilich soll sein. Last time, if you didn't get it before. Here we go. Tumbala, 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 like a tumbala, 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 like a spiel, like a tumbala, like a freilich soll sein. Tumbala, like a spiel, like a tumbala, like a freilich soll sein. Tumbala, like a spiel, like a tumbala, like a freilich soll sein. And that is the power of communal singing right there, even if you don't know the words. So we go from Yiddish to a little bit of Hebrew. The next song is a traditional song that I have sung many times since I was a boy, celebrating Hanukkah myself. And a big part of Jewish celebrations are telling stories. We are storytellers. We are all storytellers. We all contain stories with us. And songs especially contain the stories and the memories of our lives. And that's all of what this song is about. It asks the rhetorical question, Mi yimalel, who can retell? Who can retell all the things that have happened to us? And of course, we are the tellers of our own stories, and we can also be the tellers of other people's stories, who may not have the microphone that we do to tell those stories. And so we sing this song, Mi yimalel, in Hebrew and in English, as we tell our story of Hanukkah. Guma gibor goe We go from the traditional to the contemporary, and by contemporary I mean the 1960s. You know, people often complain about the lack of modern Hanukkah songs, but one group that attempted to make one, and I think they wrote a pretty good one, it's one of my favorites around this time of year, is the group Peter, Paul, and Mary. And they wrote a beautiful folk song that continues to resonate to this day, and that is a sign of a good song, right? That is both timeless and timely. It is a song about why we keep lighting the lights every year and what it means that we keep on doing it. Sometimes even when it feels like the world is dark. And that is precisely when we need the light most. And if you look at the verses, the thing that I love also about this song is that each sentence, each phrase of a verse starts with light one candle, and guess how many phrases there are? Yes. 8, one for each candle that we light. Because each candle has meaning, each flame has meaning. And this song itself is about the themes of Hanukkah, particularly of freedom and justice. And as we sit here in this space, this is a perfect night and a perfect place to reflect on both of those things with the words by Peter, Paul, and Mary, this beautiful tune called Light One Candle. Don't let the light go out. Just like we light the flames every year and keep the memory and the stories alive. Again, these stories and memories are carried in the songs that they sang in the chapel here that connected them to Jewish communities around the world, whether they were behind walls or not. And the songs that connect us and transcend religion and language and all sorts of boundaries to unite us all in a moment when we need it most. One of my favorite memories of growing up and celebrating Hanukkah comes at the end when we have lit the menorah and we're all standing around as a family or as a group of friends or wherever we are in community, and we're just looking and admiring and acknowledging the light that we have created together. And after we have sang the blessings, we sing this traditional song, Ma'oz Tzur. So we will end the musical portion tonight with that communal song. Again, the song lyrics are on your song sheets. We'll do it in Hebrew and in English. And thank you for inviting me to be a part of this meaningful evening to celebrate Hanukkah with all of you. And thank you for celebrating Hanukkah with me. Thank you so much, everyone. Chag Sameach, happy Hanukkah.
We have one last letter. How awesome that was, singing for Hanukkah. And I will read it to you as soon as I find it. All right. This is a letter from Bella Levin to Joe Paul, and it's dated September 24th, 1950. My dear Mr. Paul, Mr. Levin and I wish to express our deepest thanks to you for the many kindnesses you have shown our son. He has told me of the very fine religious services and the delicious food which he has benefited so much from. Before our son met you, his existence there seemed to be like a desert, and he was overwhelmed with fear, laden with grief, and parched by thirst for a ray of hope, for a better life. Through your efforts, Mr. Paul, he has now found an oasis in the middle of this desert, where he obtains elements for self-satisfaction and for self-evaluation. Mr. Paul, you have made it possible to foster hope in a forlorn boy and strengthen his resolve to live. He has found in you a source of inspiration, and for this, no words can express our gratefulness. There are many ways of living a life, of doing good on earth, of helping some other individuals appreciate the worth of his existence. The best is not to teach, nor threaten, nor command, but just to live unselfishly. You, Mr. Paul, have set this example every day in your deeds. Mr. Levin and I extend greetings for a coming 12 months of friendship, and may the joyful bounties of this coming year be as great in number as your many friends. Very sincerely yours, Bella Levin.
Eastern State is here to be a site that not just preserves this amazing historic site, to remember the pain and the trauma that happened here, but to also celebrate the resilience, the resistance, and the power of human dignity, human identity. When you came here tonight, you probably did not see, but when you come here during the day, it was founded with a belief that every single person had an inner light, and that all we needed to do was to focus on that light. So tonight, we spoke about honesty, we spoke about memory, redemption, hope. All of these things matter in a society of incarceration, but what we can't lose sight of in the justice system and in our world is the centering on human dignity, the centering on the power and resilience of the person. But when we think of Hanukkah and we think of this celebration, it is a festival of light. It is the idea that even in the darkest times, you put the effort in to keep the light. It is a constant work, not just at the holiday, but every single day. And what I think is so powerful about what happened here in the past and what happened here tonight with our youngest visitors, what happens is it is not just flaming your own light. It is when you reach out across the table, across the aisle, and say, how can I help your light? And that's what we hear with these letters. So Karen, thank you for reading those letters. Thank you for giving voice to the people that were here and giving the power to the people that ensured that their light was flamed, that their light shined. That's what matters. I thank you so much all for coming here tonight. We thank the Reichlin and Tuck families for the support to give us this work. We are unbelievably powerful. We're in community. And I want to thank Larry. I want to thank Jeffrey. I want to thank Ken. You're all lined up perfectly. Avi, there you are. Karen, LZ is somewhere in the room. Everybody, please give LZ, Lauren, a big round of applause for putting together this amazing ensemble of brilliance tonight. Thank you for helping us see the inner light of people from 100 years ago and people today. You've done amazing work. And also, thank you to Joe Paul for the work that he did to help people, and to the Reichlin family and their ancestors and the work that they did to save people. Please come again. We can't wait to see you. Happy holidays.